absolutely stoked to be inviting you to a team meeting. It is a team meeting at Quilt. It's mostly quite boring. We talk about things that I want to get done, and the team says, here are the 17 reasons why they can't be done. So we're going to walk you through the journey of that particular team meeting. I'm inviting all the people I work with on a daily basis. Some of them speak to me, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 times a day. So first, Dr. Angad Chowdhry, my co-founder who never goes off the rails. Second, Melissa Wong, our head of innovation. Woo! Michelle Gay, our head of everything else, special projects, Ninja. And Yash Joshi, our very calibrated and sober head of engineering. Okay. I've been told not to move the seat a few times, but I'm going to do it anyway. Okay. It just looks weird. Please sit, guys. So we're going to try and shrink like 47 team meetings into one, and do it in 30 minutes.
Hopefully no shouting.
No shouting, yes. I promise not to throw any new feature curve bombs in there in some shape or form. So one of our biggest desires, and this is, imagine a conversation 6 months ago, and we're just going to shoot through the next 6 months. So one of our biggest desires has been to show the power of the internet, of human experiences on the internet, with truth, like you saw with Dell, with detailed, categorized, classified, and deeply understood. So today we're launching this after more than 6 months of beta testing with more than 1,000 users. These 1,000+ users love the product, and we hope you will too. It's hard to shrink like all those gazillion meetings into one, but
okay.
Yeah, that's
Thank you for coming.
Yeah, you had to do that. Okay, now you've thrown me. But perhaps if you can take us to the beginning and how we went about building this out, that'd be a lot of fun. There is a product demo coming up. But I think one of the things we want to do is share democratically and transparently our knowledge of having built this, because the more people know about it, the more interesting solutions and products are going to get built using stacks such as the one that we've created.
Do you want me to start with the Trends application?
Sure.
Okay. So the Trends application we're launching right after this session is a wrapper on our entire technology stack. As you've seen through the day, our technology stack reflects our philosophy towards internet data, finding meaning in all of that information, and that helps us do very practical things like segment populations, measure brands, and even do basic cultural observations. In the knowledge business, whether it's academia, research, consulting, et cetera, there is an axiom. And that axiom is you can have speed, you can have depth, and you can have accuracy, but you can't have all three. Until now, of course, Anurag. The Trends application that we're going to show you emerged as a similar provocation. Why can't cultural data, messy, human cultural data, be as engaging as a social media stream? We spend a lot of time on our social media streams, and our users spend a lot of time on our Trends application. And why can't cultural data and a social media stream be as robust and quantified as a research report? In summary, why can't it be both immersive and mathematically accurate?
And epic.
Yeah. So our partners, as you know, across industries and geographies know that their customers and their stakeholders' interests and proclivities are changing fairly quickly. But in all of these information streams, in all of these searches, all of these viral videos that you see, how do we know what is meaningful and what we should action and what we should use as an opportunity? And this is where we need to be more consistent. Instead of doing one focus group a year, we need to study the world more regularly. For example, I can't believe I'm saying this, but if you missed the mob wife trend, which you clearly did.
Like the socks, right? So mob wife.
You could explore the larger movement towards opulence and subtle opulence that is taking place. Or if you missed ASMR, you could explore the larger need for people to feel cocooned and contained. All of this information, whether it's mob wife, opulence, cocoon, contained, or something as practical as a Japanese ASMR headset, all of this information is spread across the internet right now. It's in videos, it's in posts, it's in searches, in different platforms, different formats, and most importantly, in different languages. Let us now quickly take the audience through, perhaps, how we find patterns in all of this noise. About 5 years ago, we had a very interesting meeting with the head of analytics at Twitter, where they were studying the Hong Kong protests, if I remember correctly. And all of the social listening companies were coming back with sentiment analysis, and it was all neutral. And they were shocked. They were like, why is the language model that we use for sentiment analysis not picking up what's actually going on? So we started crafting a very sophisticated image and language model for them, which we then scaled out across multiple languages in multiple countries, that allowed us to find deeper emotional states, not just positive, negative, and neutral, or joy, happiness, et cetera, but almost 50 affective states within posts, which was a very interesting piece of engineering as well as data training for us. And our work at Quilt has always tried to solve the same type of problem. Given a data set, like a photo of all of us here on the stage, what are the non-obvious, non-explicit, non-segmentable stories that exist within it? And how do we know that these are meaningful? This is achieved in 3 distinct ways. The first is by observing everything and not to be obsessed or married to one platform, one set of influencers.
You're going to offend like TikTok and Instagram. I saw them in the room. There's Reddit also. So
you will find it on TikTok and Instagram and in Reddit. And these are the best platforms on the planet.
There you
right?
go.
But no, they're true. They overdetermine the conversation for sure, but we have to look at everything. And when we look at everything, things get extremely messy. And this has been a theme throughout all of our presentations. You see these beautiful decks, you see these beautiful dashboards, but what's happening is mess and chaos and noise. So the plane beneath the polish is a very, very powerful plane of information. So our agnostic attitude plugs into the fire hose of the world, right? And all the people within it. So that's the first thing, everything. The second is we teach machine learning models, and teaching the machine is a very clever way of hiding a lot of flaws, but we teach a machine based on everything that we have learned over the last 6 years to detect and understand what is meaningful and interesting. Are those orange socks meaningful or interesting?
Red? Orange?
Red,
orange.
yes.
All right,
so there is a way in which a researcher's eye or a philosopher's eye sees things, or a semiotic's eye sees things, and you have to build this taste into a machine learning system. So there's diverse modeling involved, multi-shot learning, et cetera. So this world's fire hose comes into that system, or the series of systems, and it extracts what is meaningful. Now, of course, as you've seen in every newspaper article, AI hallucinates, AI is biased, et cetera, et cetera. It's a liar, it's slick little whatever, right? And that's true. There are a lot of hallucinations and a lot of very odd things that happen when machines come out with patterns. So we built the third system. So the first is we download everything. The second is we build our machines to think like us and to have our nuances. And the third is we validate. And how do we validate? If you put a post up about the mob wife trend, there is going to be search activity, there is going to be engagement activity, there's going to be some amount of quantification around all of these things. So you get the world's fire hose, the model's pattern recognition and writing, and then this validation layer. This gives you trends, this gives you visuals, this gives you quantification, and to my original point, this is what makes it both immersive and mathematically accurate. Our first launch today is a trends product in 7 categories. Starting tomorrow, we will be updating this every week and adding more and more countries. You will see that it contains a few components, a trend line, a description, a few videos that have been selected by machine learning models. And we are, of course, improving the process, so you might see some odd ones there. And a very clean set of trend lines, so you can understand the significance of these things that the model has detected. We hope you find it useful. I think there is a video.
Yeah, so
So, Anurag started this conversation telling us that he makes these large requests from us. So I'm going to take a leaf out of his book and make an audacious claim. Think of this as a trends product today, but eventually as a timeline of the entire world.
Okay, that wasn't on the script, but that's audacious, man. And in public. Thank you, Angad. Michelle, obviously, Angad walked us through the core stack that we've built, the input, the models, the validation to avoid the hallucination. I remember in February dropping this on you and saying, make this magical. And you've had a complicated 6 months.
Complicated, but very exciting at the same time.
Walk us through the journey.
Of course. So as Angad alluded to earlier, we live in a world that is driven by data. But this data is messy, it's layered, it's dynamic. But all data solutions today, they predominantly focus on being numbers forward. It's basically presenting facts in black and white. So we felt very challenged to find a solution that could reflect accurately the colorful nature of humanity. So with our Trends Explorer app that you just saw, I think we've done just that. No, we don't just look at one source of data, we look at the entire landscape of conversation, content online. So you have brand consumer conversations on social media, which means we look at captions, we look at images, we look at the songs that they choose. We also look at press releases, blogs, product websites, and all of this, stitched together provides us all these insights in this. We try to put all these insights together and present them in the same visual, magical way. This is also where the app's true innovation lies. Using a generative AI layer on top of this live data, what happens is unstructured, unfiltered internet data allows us, when we look at all this data, it allows us to identify trends. Essentially, trends emerge. The AI automatically picks trends, relevant hashtags, gets us user-generated content. It writes everything out you see on the trends detail page. We've also built quantification of the trends into the same workflow. This means we can validate the trends easily and also very accurately. With this new workflow, we're transforming human understanding into a process that's not just more efficient, but also far more impactful as well as accurate. What we can give you now through this app is, number one, a non-opinionated overview of trends. So traditionally, trend analysis often relies on manually gathering data from a few sources, namely influencers, expert opinions. Now, you're no longer confined to just narrow data sets. The world of trends in its entirety is now at your fingertips, where you have the trends set by the people, of the people, for the people. You'll also get highly textured content. So we built a system that reflects the organic nature of the internet in a feed format to let you engage with trends in a familiar, intuitive way. It's like scrolling through your social media app, but doing so to explore trends and getting actionable, deep insights behind every single thing that you see. So scrolling becomes a lot more fun and a lot more productive. Lastly, we strive to be mathematically accurate, and this is extremely important to us. With our built-in validation process, which quantifies trends, it allows us to act quickly and confidently, whether it's advising clients or making strategic decisions for your team. Our Trends Explorer app is a place where research meets discovery. It is powered by data, but also designed for human intuition. Welcome to your living, breathing beat. I know, it kind of takes my breath away because it's so hard to imagine something like this is a reality.
Michelle does not get emotional.
I know,
ever.
but we have an amazing team behind this app. It's something that we've talked about for so long, ever since the start of Quilt, wanting to have something that's so visual and can represent the internet. Yeah, but this is our living, breathing feed, that brings cultural consumer insights directly to your fingertips. So as what Angad said earlier, this is the timeline of the world.
Yeah, catchy, no?
Catch.
Very.
All right, you can hit that QR code while. So we came to this journey in a really weird way. We said that we would be the Bloomberg of humanity. We would index humanity like the way Bloomberg indexes financial information. And that was a wrong thing to aspire to, because that's Bloomberg, and they're an extraordinarily amazing company, and is showing a particular kind of data in a particular way. So part of the pivot we wanted to make was, how do we show data that's human, messy, complex, but show it in a visual forward way, so it becomes engaging. So it's Pinterest plus Netflix plus TikTok, but able to be searched, sized, managed, understood with great context. So once you've done that, also we have that standard product. Michelle assures me that if there is a client in here or online that would like a custom version, 11 days?
Oh, no.
14? 11.
11. Go try.
It's faster than they would take time to get a procurement order, right? So we'll be fine. All right, let's move from the timeline of the world. I'm going to use your words.
Thank you.
To the meaning of the world. When we started the company, one of the most frustrating things walking into a meeting would be the bad words. Oh, you're social listening. And Massimo dropped the F-bomb, but I won't. But I would be very, very upset, because I'm like, no, we don't listen. We find meaning, and we care deeply about meaning. We don't care about if somebody liked a comment 17 times. Who are they? Why do they care? Why do they want to like this? How are they engaging with it? So it became a bit of a rant, and I'm glad to say we're going to launch social meaning today.
So.
No funny jokes.
I can't promise anything. The dirty secret, of most technology companies is that most of the teams build to help CEOs and co-founders manage trauma of client interactions. This was built because we did not want you to answer the social listening, etc. question anymore. I'm sorry it took us so long, but the world, right? So there are two interesting things, Anurag, back on script. There are two interesting things about the product name, right? We call it social meaning, but social here does not stand for social media, but it stands for society in general. And meaning because it's not about counting posts, which is what listening does, but understanding something a little more profound. Now, I know a lot of you have used social listening systems, and it's essentially a counting system. It counts likes, comments, views, and so on. And it converts the richness of what we see online, what we all see on our feeds every day, into an accounting problem. But as we know, human life is not an accounting problem. I mean, for some people, but not for all, right? Because social listening became the only way to do research online. It quickly became a footnote, which is your F word, whenever you wanted a real research project. So companies would say, oh, I want to understand women over 60, et cetera, I'll do a social listening study, and it's like 14% like Dove, whatever, right? Like that's how the whole ecosystem worked. But it's not a real research project. And what is a real research project? A real research project is built on the back of the social sciences. Let me give you two examples. The first is that people online believe that the internet is a small and one-dimensional place, because all of us are guilty of this. We extrapolate our own timelines to the rest of the population. The diversity that actually exists once you break out of your timeline is truly mind-boggling. From karaoke contests on small islands on the Philippines, like we saw this morning, to fossil collectors in Chile. Everyone is documenting or exploring their lives in ways we cannot imagine. So step one, and I mentioned this earlier in the fire hose, we open it up. We look for everything, right? The second one is the differences between the data found online. Anurag is fond of an example, I'm sorry to keep picking on you, where he posts his athletic achievements on Instagram, right? Like
middle-aged men, we do this.
Yeah. Please follow me on Instagram. I have many athletic achievements. But like, So he's into, what's that called? Marathon running, right? So he posts his marathon running on Instagram, and the sun is rising over Boston, and like he's sweating, and he's got that little like, what is that Strava app? What's
Strava.
Strava, right? With the shape he's run across whatever when on his way to Dunkin' Donuts, right? Like there's a whole thing, and that's Instagram, right? But at the same time, he's searching for, oh, you know, I got a cramp on my knee's hurt, at what age do you get arthritis, whatever, right? So, and thank you for the laugh, but most of human life is like this. Most of human life has an inner world and an outer world, and every researcher knows this, and all of us know this instinctively. So what we have to do is step 2. We listen to everything, we capture everything, but we look at what is said and what is unsaid. And what is unsaid here is what is searched for. You never spell check your search. It's like an unconscious stream of consciousness type of thing. So this and many other methods have been built into the second app we're launching today called Social Meaning. It's a researcher online, trained by us for you. Clearly, as you will see when you play with it, it's a very youthful and overconfident
Exuberant
researcher.
even.
Exuberant, but it's learning, he or she is learning very, very fast. Here is how it works. You enter.
Should we just play the demo?
Okay.
Let's see if it works. So the cool part about Social Meaning is that it came from a provocation that there's a pattern here around like how do we shrink our time of getting an output to a day from a couple of weeks. And I think we're down at 6 minutes today. So in 6 minutes, you could ask a question that you might want to know. Yesterday we did things like, what is the food choice in New York? So imagine any query you might want about any brand, any conversation, any idea, any topic, and you get an answer that is unlike a Google, unlike a GPT, unlike even a Perplexity, which is a pretty cool engine, but you get it in a way that is immersive and it's consumer forward, and you can take that and you can then run a marketing campaign on some of that fairly instantly. Mel, you built a lot of this from the ground up way back in the day. I'd love for that journey to come through.
Sure. So the main thing that we focused on is finding mathematical meaning out of culture is easier said than done. The core IP that we have developed is really taking noisy internet data and making it meaningful. Very little of this was available out of the box. We had to build it ourselves. So we started first from open source libraries like NLTK and Spacey, to training our own ML models on Google AutoML and TensorFlow, to even implementing reinforcement learning based on human feedback on NVIDIA's Megatron back in the day. So we have lived and learned many of these data science techniques and ML models, and we have the scars to prove it. All of this was done to uncover insights and meaning from this messy internet data. Our social meaning product is a good demonstration of all of the core IP that we have built, because it's built on the 3 orders of analysis that I'll mention. So firstly, it's all about seeing the world. So ingesting and processing content, and that has really taken years for us to get right. We have gone through the simplest things like spam removal, managing different formats of data from search volumes to different engagement metrics across social media sources, to the nitty-gritty of language processing, where we debate when words stop being useful, when we should keep them because they represent some core meaning. This also includes a basic tagging of content. So this includes logo detection, object detection, entity extraction, and it's really largely focused on extracting key details out of a post. However, these details exist without context and are simply hashtags or objects detected. So this is when understanding the world actually comes to play. It's all about putting all of the information that we just extracted back into context. This is where we built our cultural classifiers, and they are analytics that reflect human language and behavior. While typical NLP extraction and detection focuses on tangible concepts, ours are largely around cultural nuance and intangible ones. So our initial experiences were around text and image classification, where we built a model for the Barbican Museum, where we detected subcultures, and for a model for Twitter, or actually X, that detected over 50 positive emotions in 5 different languages. So we went on to build many industry standard classifiers, such as brand equity, brand magic, as well as consumer needs. And once we have more culturally nuanced insights for each of our data points, from image to text to audio to video, we started building ML systems that weaved all of these insights into a coherent story. So this is finally articulating the world. So you might have thousands of these culturally nuanced labeled images, but a story only comes together when they're coherently clustered together and linked to a deeper cultural framework. And this was done through building these frameworks through our ML systems, through a range of embeddings, clustering techniques, while taking advantage of the large context windows of LLMs. This has allowed us to coherently stitch together all of the insights into something useful for a marketeer. So this really encapsulates the 6-year journey that went to building all of the AI products that we've just showed.
You know, I was walking the journey back, and it was fascinating. In 2020, stuff didn't work. Like, you couldn't actually do certain things with any degree of confidence. And today, every day something new is happening. I think we're living in a world that, second to fire, I think this supersedes the internet from a technology perspective. And people who are builders out here, as Rashad said, I think, get out and build and do stuff. The hardest thing you had to do outside of dealing with me?
I would say like the big elephant in the room all the time when it talks about doing research on digital data is that most people don't speak about the fact that the internet is full of edge cases and outliers. And when you're building a scalable product, we have to constantly manage and deal with the edge cases all of the time.
Cool. The edge case thing is not a minimal one. The edge case thing is primarily the internet. So it isn't as if things cluster to the mean or the middle. It's actually all over. The dispersion is absolutely wild. Last, definitely not least, to Mr. Suave, Yash Joshi. Yash is also exceptionally good at stand-up comedy. So sometime out there, you have to pin him down. Yash, I remember coming to you when you had just joined us from Dell, big company, and you were taking a leap of faith working for a small company like us. And I said, Yash, we're going to build empathy at scale. And you gave me a bit of a blank stare now. Then, I believe you may have a better answer today.
Yeah, so I guess what is empathy, right? Appreciating other people's feelings, sure. Maybe empathy is about having a conversation with ease. And that's how we approach our engineering. All of these products and features that we're building, they all boil down in some way to making data sets, machine learning models, representations speak to each other with ease. Right? So how do we orchestrate these conversations, and what happens when these entities converse? For our trends portal, we have built automated trend detection pipelines that speak to the internet and that capture trends within days or even hours of them emerging online. We've built tools to help our social scientists verify and curate these trends so we don't lose the human touch. And we've built tools to quantify these trends, again, by speaking to the internet. So we check how many people have been mentioning these trends, these keywords, and on which platforms. For our generative AI applications, and you can see some of them outside, we have some nice installations. For these Gen AI applications, the ones outside are fun, right? But we have enterprise-level apps that we build that make use of our RAG system, our retrieval augmented generation. So this allows us to take customer data and ingest it. And then we use vectors, we use embedding. So we talk to this customer data in vector space. And this allows us to generate content that's grounded in customer data. Our customers use our GenAI apps for everything from tailored marketing content to innovative white space product ideation to creating their next cocktail recipe. Right? And our GenAI apps can also talk to our trends portal. So this is powerful because this means we can generate content that's grounded in customer data and at the same time rides on breaking trends. An orchestrated app like Social Meaning is actually a sequence of carefully managed stages and multiple machine learning models. We query publicly available data across search, social, forums, reviews, and we make our machine learning models speak to that data. So we analyze it, we summarize it, we query it, we chart it to finally kind of allow the user to get some sense of the online conversation on a particular topic. Now, of course, a lot of software engineering goes into this, right? We have dozens of microservices running Python code and exposing APIs. We have a React Next.js front end hosted on Cloudflare. We have Kubernetes clusters running compute logic in our Google Cloud platform. All of these components also talk to each other in order to return meaningful insights to the user. Behind all of this, we have a super talented team of software engineers, QA specialists. We have 2-week sprints, production releases at the end of every sprint, automated testing, metrics, dashboards, the works. But the beauty of good engineering, and I certainly hope we represent good engineering, I know we do. The beauty of good engineering is that all of this is abstracted away from the user. What emerges is meaning. What emerges is understanding. What emerges is empathy at scale.
And you had to throw up this cool diagram up there, also off script, I see. The intent here was for us to give you a little bit of a geeky dive into all the cool things we're showing, and not just run a slick demo, but to take you into our worlds. We talk about abstracting away pieces a lot, and I've recently converted to a Mac. I think I might be the only person on the planet who still used a PC until a couple of weeks ago. And the unboxing experience was beautiful. It abstracted away any of the features that I cared about. And Yash, I know you have a fascination for Steve Jobs, minus the turtleneck.
Yeah, so he said, right, back in the day, he said something that has stuck with me. He said, technology alone is not enough. It is technology married with the liberal arts, married with the humanities, that yields results that make our hearts sing. And that's what I love about building these products, is that every technology decision we make is fundamentally informed by our understanding of human culture. What analytics we use to determine similarity or emotion, which models we use to generate our embedding vectors, what value of temperature parameter we use to create marketing content versus product ideas. All of these choices are grounded in our appreciation of the humanities. And the results do very often make our hearts sing.
Oh, little corny, but nice. Angad, any final thoughts before we break?
Well, we shared a lot. And I made a lot of jokes, and I'm sorry on your behalf.
Yes, we'll talk about that
they
later.
could have been worse, right? So,
Indeed.
What strikes me about everything we do here, and just something to think about, is whether it is latent space work, encodings, embeddings, signals, orchestration, LLMs, APIs talking to each other. All of these things are abstracted or hidden away from the user. Our intent as a company, and we have many products and applications on a Sphere platform, is to have you all experience meaning and storytelling that is affordable, that is abundant, and that is swift. You know, Anurag often says, why can't it be both fast and magical? The best things on the internet actually are fast and magical, and we are slowly starting our journey along this line today. So thank you all for sitting through that.